Welcome back everyone. Time to do another comparison this time around between the Google Pixel 5, the newly released Pixel 5, and the somewhat older Samsung Galaxy S10e. Now you can pick up a Galaxy S10e in the used market for like less than $400-$500 in a lot of different places. So this in a lot of ways is still a really good pickup. The Pixel 5 right now is selling for about $699. I got my numbers mixed up. So this one you can pick up for like $700 basically. This one is about 400-ish, $500. You can probably get it cheaper on eBay, but I'll leave the prices that I find on Amazon, the cheapest ones there, in the description below. You can check them out from there. Help support the channel at the same time. Now starting off with the front panels on both, the Samsung Galaxy S10e has a 5.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's 1080p and I think it's a pretty good looking panel. I've really never had any issues with it. I've been saying since like day one that it's a very good looking panel. You have a hole punch display, you have very little bezel around the whole entire phone, and that is a huge asset with a device like this. You know, very rarely do we see budget phones still having really good displays, and I feel like both of these phones kind of do it justice there. The Samsung Galaxy S10e for sure has a really good panel at the end of the day, in my opinion. The Google Pixel 5, on the other hand, has a 6-inch OLED display, and this one is not only 1080p as well, but it's also an OLED panel, but on top of that, it has that 90Hz refresh rate, and that is something that the Galaxy S10e unfortunately doesn't have. We didn't eventually get that until we got the S20 series, but the Pixel 5 has that capability, so for sure, I kind of like that capability on the Google Pixel 5. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the better phone just because of the better display, but the S10e's display is also very good. Same exact hole punch display type of thing as well, and you can kind of see hand to hand how much bigger the Pixel 5 is, but in the hand they really don't feel like it. They kind of feel almost similar, but because of that bigger display on the Pixel 5, it makes it that much bigger. But in reality, when I'm holding them, one doesn't really feel that much bigger if I'm being honest. On the bottom, USB Type-C on the Pixel 5, but a USB Type-C port and a headphone jack on the Galaxy S10e, which is very interesting. And on the back, we have a glass back on the Galaxy S10e with a dual camera setup. With the Pixel 5, we have an aluminum back kind of. The Pixel 5 also has a fingerprint sensor and a dual camera setup. So I will definitely tell you that the Samsung Galaxy S10e feels like a way more premium device. So it's a very important thing to keep in mind. But the Pixel 5 is still pretty good for the most part. You have IP certification on both phones as well. And the Galaxy S10e actually has expandable storage, which is really cool. The Pixel 5 doesn't have any expandable storage, so keep that in mind. But don't let that be a deterrent, into which phone you're going to pick up. But I'll definitely tell you the Galaxy S10e, I will say, kind of has my favorability when it comes down to the build quality aspect. This phone feels way more premium. The Pixel 5 doesn't really feel more premium, but I like that 90Hz refresh rate, and that's probably as big as asset in terms of the outside, in my opinion. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up there. In terms of the software, the Pixel 5 is going to outlast the Galaxy S10e. This thing came out last year. This thing's a brand new Pixel phone. So realistically, the Google Pixel 5 will be getting more software updates. There's also going to be a bigger development community behind it, and also day one updates. As soon as the Pixel 5, once Android 11 comes out, the Pixel 5 or Android 12 in the future, this one already has Android 11. Once Android 12 comes out, day one updates, this thing's going to get it, and it's going to get the beta the same day. Where the Galaxy S10e, I mean, it's probably going to get Android 12, but we don't know how much further it's going to go from there, and we don't even know the date the Galaxy S10e is going to be getting Android 12, so that's a little bit of a difference right there. So in terms of software, that pretty much covers it up. Now I'll go ahead and do a little bit of a speed comparison between these two phones. The Google Pixel 5 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 620 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy S10e, on the other hand, has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 640 GPU, and 6 gigs of RAM on the base model, but 8 gigs of RAM on the top tier model. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between these two. Okay, now that we're back, let me go and clear out all the apps in the background. And for some reason on the Google Pixel side, I don't know why it only allows us to close out one app or two apps at a time. It's kind of annoying. Okay, let's start loading these things up. Let's do phone calls. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think the Galaxy S10e may have been a little bit faster. Scrolling out, you can kind of see about the same. Messages, 3, 2, 1. I think the Galaxy S10e was faster there too. Play Store, 3, 2, 1. And the Pixel 5 was faster to load up the Play Store. Scrolling through, you may be able to see, I accidentally have it out. You can see that I think the S10e may be a little bit smoother. It kind of seems like the Pixel 5 kind of seems to be loading up a little bit more. Scrolling speeds though, I think maybe the Galaxy S10e is a smoother one there, but they're both very close. Camera 3, 2, 1, this isn't really going to tell anything. Alright, and now let's go ahead and load up these third-party apps that I have right here. So let's go ahead and do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. Okay, for some reason it didn't pick up on my S10e. That was very weird. Stack, 3, 2, 1. And I don't know which one actually. This one has annoying music on it. Okay, that one covers that one. Snake versus blocks, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Galaxy S10e was actually faster there, but again, they were pretty close. And, gameplay wise, they're both about the same. I don't really think one is going to be way better than the other one here. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And typically in the beginning with it does take a second for them to officially load into it. And you can see that the Galaxy S10e, I think, was actually faster to get into it. And getting into some gameplay, as you will be able to see, they both are about the same here too. Not a ginormous difference, which is expected. Do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Pixel 5 was definitely way faster there. BOFA, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the Galaxy S10e I think was faster, but it was faster on the Pixel 5 to get into this panel, so maybe we'll give that the benefit of the doubt. Now I would do Food Ninja, but I've been getting errors on the Pixel 5 for some reason. You can go and do Thank You, 3, 2, 1. And you can see I think the Galaxy S10e was actually a little bit faster there. Getting into some gameplay, you can see they're going to be about the same here. Not a ginormous difference, but for sure I think that one pretty much covered that one. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And Pixel 5 faster there. S10e a little bit slower. We can do Paper IOs 2. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the Galaxy S10e I think was faster there. Getting into some gameplay here, and I don't know which one is faster. They're both kind of glitching all over the place. I'm not really too sure which one was faster there, but they both were pretty close. And we can try ending it off with the Racing 3, 3, 2, 1, but I feel like I'm going to run into some problem. But even with the Pixel 5, you kind of saw that it was faster to get into that specific animation, which is really important. The Galaxy S10e took like a couple of seconds, but it's totally okay. And the Pixel 5 is fully loaded, and the S10e is a little bit behind it. Luckily, we didn't have to download it, so I don't know which one was necessarily faster. I think you guys would be able to tell. They both were very, very close to one another. There were times that the Pixel 5 was faster. There were times where the Galaxy S10e was faster. So I don't know which one is, 100% the better one. RAM management, I mean, they're both looking to be kind of the same too. So I think it's a pretty close tie between both of them. Maybe the Google Pixel 5 would be the smoother one. You saw some animations. Sometimes the Pixel 5 was able to load those animations up a little bit smoother than the Galaxy S10e. So that's another big deal. But I think when it comes down to the performance, I don't think one is way faster or way slower than the other one. They both were almost neck and neck in a lot of them. And you might get better RAM management from the Pixel 5 if you have the 6 gig version of the S10e. But if you have 8 gig versions of both, then they're probably going to be about the same. So in terms of performance, that pretty much covers it up. Now let me go ahead and do a camera test between them. So we have dual camera setups on both. On the Galaxy S10e, we have a 12 megapixel wide angle lens and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Whereas on the Pixel 5, we have a 12.2 megapixel wide angle lens and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. And I've said this before, and I really do think it's probably the Galaxy S10e's biggest asset. And it's when it comes down to the features of both cameras, you're probably going to have more features from a camera like even a Galaxy S10e, which is over a year old, than on a stock version of the Pixel 5. Now there's custom ROMs you can install that have more features in the cameras, and there's apps you can install too. But if we're looking at the stock camera app, I mean, this is a really good example. I mean, it seems like Samsung just does a really good job in their cameras, even though their UI is glitchy and all that stuff on terms of like even outside the camera app. But you can see how many more features you're getting built in on the Galaxy S10e than on the Google Pixel 5. So that's another really big thing to keep in mind. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but at the end of the day, it is something to kind of, remember. Now with the Pixel 5, I think the biggest asset that this phone has is the software enhancements that Google puts in. I mean, if you take this camera, this is really bad lighting. If you take this camera outdoors and look at all these photos and stuff, and I've been trying to do a bunch of photo comparisons, but I haven't been having the time. But definitely the Pixel 5's camera is really good. With that ultra-wide sensor as well, you can do a lot with that sensor, and with the things like night mode and all those different capabilities that you have on the Pixel 5, it really does make it a solid camera pickup. It's not necessarily the greatest camera, I think, of this year. I think the Galaxy S20 probably has that, but this thing still has the capability of shooting 4K 60, which is really cool. You have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, which only taps out at 1080p. If they maybe did like 4K 30, that would have been better. But the Pixel 5's camera, I think, is a pretty solid camera for a $699 phone. But with the Galaxy S10e, for example, I I don't know. I don't know if this camera would necessarily be better, but I feel like some of the photos look better from this specific camera. And I've been using this camera for a while, and this camera seems to be good. I think the biggest advantage of it is that, 4K at 60 on the back, which both phones have, but this one on the front has a 10 megapixel sensor, which you can do 4K at 60 on that front camera, which I think is also very important. So I would probably say, in terms of both cameras, the Galaxy S10e may be the better, well-rounded camera. I feel like the software on the back of the Pixel 5 is pretty good in terms of the camera lens and everything, but I don't know, I kind of give the edge to the S10e just because of the more capability, more features, and the 4K at 60 on the front camera. Now, ending it off with battery life on both phones, the Google Pixel 5 has a 4080 mAh battery, the Samsung Galaxy S10e has a 3100 mAh battery, and in this case, I may just give the edge to the Pixel 5. I feel like this phone, mostly because of the software but also the bigger battery, has the advantage here. Even though you have that 90Hz refresh rate and all that stuff, I feel like the Google Pixel 5 actually has the advantage when it comes down to the actual battery life. So in terms of battery, that's kind of my opinion. Now, to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you pick up the S10e, should you pick up the Pixel 5, I'll go and list off some advantages and disadvantages for both phones, starting with the S10e. Now with this phone, I think it's a tremendous build quality. It's a better build quality than the Pixel 5. It looks very good. It looks very, obviously it looks very professional, but it looks kind of more modern, I think, than the Pixel 5, and it looks more premium too because it is. You have IP certification on both phones. You have wireless charging and reverse wireless charging on the Galaxy S10e, where you have both on the Pixel 5 kind of, but it's just standard reverse charging. You have expandable storage on the Galaxy S10e. You have really good performance, great cameras, pretty good battery life, and you're still getting software updates too, which is really cool. Whereas on the Pixel 5, I think this phone is a tremendous phone too, but for $699, it's more expensive than the Galaxy S10e, but you're getting a better screen in my opinion. You're getting an okay build quality. You have wireless charging, reverse charging. You have a great camera setup. The software, I think, is this phone's biggest asset. You're definitely going to be getting, all sorts of software updates in the future. So it's not like today it's going to be outdated or next year. We're talking years and years and years of relevancy for this specific phone. The performance is great, it's smooth, that 90Hz refresh rate, like I stated, is awesome, and the battery life is also extremely good. So that's kind of how I would sum up that specific thing. If I had to pick up one of these, I would honestly probably rather pick up the Google Pixel 5 than the S10e, but for those of you who own the Galaxy S10e, I wouldn't necessarily go and upgrade one to the other. I feel like both these phones are super capable, and they're going to be relevant for a long time too. So in terms of everything, that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any questions, or like I said, if you want to pick these up, links will be down in the description below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels, more importantly than everything else. I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.